Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Students, welcome to the virtual session of week 4. If you can listen to me properly, please raise your hands. Okay, thank you, Fatima. Okay, so in today's sessions we are going to talk more about data flow diagrams, which we studied in our face-to-face class. So first of all, I'll review the content which I studied in class, and meanwhile, if you find any question, you can raise hand. I'll answer your question, and after that, we'll be working on an exercise about making a DFD. So let's start. So we were talking about process modeling in the class. I told you that there are 3 types of modeling which is done in the system: functional modeling, structural modeling, and behavior modeling. So the process modeling comes in structural modeling. There are some key definitions about process model. It's a formal way of representing how a business system operates, and we identify the activities which are performed and the flow of data to and from those activities. And those activities are called processes. And when we do data flow diagramming, it's a common technique for creating process models. And we talked about logical process models describe processes without suggesting how they are conducted, and physical process models provide information that is needed to build the system actually. So now we are going to talk about data flow diagram, so the diagramming techniques to model the process and the flow of data in and out of those processes. So this is one sample data flow diagram in which you can see 5 processes, 1 external entity, and 2 data stores. So the processes are numbered as 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.5, and 1.4, and the data stores are labeled as D1, D2, patients and appointments, and the external entity is the patient. And you can see here that all the arrows are labeled. So the labels on the arrow are showing what type of data is being flowing, and the direction of arrow shows that from where and to where data is being transferred. So let's see more about DFD. In a DFD, you come across a process, which is an activity or functions performed for a specific business reason. It can be manual or computerized. Then you see data flows, a single piece of data, or a logical collection of data. Give me a minute. Sorry for disturbance. Okay, so the data flow is a single piece of data or a logical collection of data. It always starts or ends at a process. Then in a data store, there's a data store at the DFD, which is a collection of data that is stored in some way. And it is data flowing out is retrieved from the data store, and data coming in updates or is added to the data store. The external entity is a person, organization, or system that is external to the system but interacts with it. So everybody, there's a person, system, or an organization which is interacting with your system, is an external entity. So when you see different conventions to draw DFDs, you see that the 2 types of conventions are normally followed. To model the process, sometimes Jane and Charson symbols suggest that use this type of symbol for process, then for data flow, for data store, and for external entity. Or you can use an oval shaped symbol for process, and these for different for data stores and external entities. And there are some other information which is recorded with every element, like every process has a number, a name, a description, or more outputs, data flows, and input data flows. And every data flow has a name, a description, and one or more connection to the process. And every data store has a number, a name, a description, and one or more inputs and outputs data flows. And every external entity has a name and description. And if you are using some computer-aided software engineering tool, like you're using some case tool, for that you record this information in the form of these fields. This is process, data flow, data store, and external entity. So when you try to show everything, complete system in a single DFD, you can't, because business processes are quite complex to be shown on a single DFD. So when you want to explain your system, you come across having multiple data flow diagrams which can show your complete system. Decomposition is the process of representing the system in a hierarchy of DF diagrams. So first of all, you show your system at the broader level, and then you go the inner details and analyze all the sub-processes and data flows. So you decompose it. And child diagrams show a portion of the parent diagram, but in greater detail. And then you do balancing, which involves ensuring that information presented at one level of DFD is accurately presented in the next level of DFD. Now in this way, the data flow diagrams appears. Like the topmost level is the context diagram, which shows your system as a whole, which is called level 0. Then comes level 0 diagram, in which you expand your system. You divide this whole system in sub-processes. You identify major processes, like your information system is completely made up of process U, T, and V. So these three processes are making up, when merged up, they are making your information system. So you identify these processes, and then you identify the data stores if there are any. So you identify all the data stores. This is at level 0 DFD. At the lower level, you pick up each of these processes and further expand it in more detail. Like if I picked process 2, that is process U from here, and expanded it, then this process can be subdivided into 3 more sub-processes. So that's why I've written 2 is divided in 2.1, 2.2, 2.3. And I need to ensure that when I merge up all these 3, it should completely make up this process U. So no part of process U should be left which is not part of this. So when these 3 are combined, we should have complete process U. So we expand it here. Similarly, we expand process T, we expand process V. So this is level 1 DFD, and when we expand it further, like for example, we expanded process E in level 2. So for every process 2, we had 3 sub processes, process K, L, and M. And similarly, we will be expanding 2.1 and 2.3 as well. So as you are moving down, as you are moving to the lower level, the number of DFDs is increasing. For every process at the upper level, you need to have a diagram. Sometimes it happens that at the lower level, some processes are simplified at level 1, suppose. So you don't need to expand it further. So you can stop here. Like at level 1, if you are able to completely define all the details of that process, you can skip having a further diagram at level 2 for this. But if it requires explanation, then you have to. So most of the systems we go up to level 3 or 4. Mostly systems are of that much complexity. But if the complexity is higher, then it means the systems are either too much complex, or you need to divide your systems in multiple systems, or you need to divide in projects, your main project in sub-projects. So the topest is context diagram, then comes level 0 diagram, level 1, and then level 2. So let's start from context diagram, that's how it's made. It is the first DFD in every business process. You show the context into which this business process fits, and you show the overall business process as just one process, and you label it as 0 process. Show all the external entities that receive information from or contribute information to the system. You show all the major processes that are comprise, like if the context diagram is over here, because here you are showing the complete process and externalities. So then you go to level 0 diagram, in which you show all the major processes that comprise the overall system, the internal components of process 0, and you show all the data flows, and you show all the external entities and your data stores. At level 1, you further decompose your diagram and show all the internal processes that comprise that single process at the level 0. So for every level 0 process, you make separate level 1 diagram. And similarly, so happens at level 2, that for every level 1, you make a separate level 2 diagram. For every level 1 process, you make a separate level 2 diagram. And the correct numbering of each process is important because it helps the user understand where the process fits in the overall systems. You can have alternate data flows, or the process can produce different flows. So you should now have understanding of data flows, data stores, and process, and you should be able to tell what is the relationship between DFD and the new application being developed. Okay, now I'm going to skip these details. I would like to move to a context diagram to a sample context diagram, and I want you to view this diagram, at what's happening inside. So please look this diagram carefully, because after a few minutes we are going to draw a context diagram of a scenario. This is context diagram. There are no levels. You will decompose it further. This is the context diagram which is showing your overall system. Let's expand it here, because when I do full screen, everything else hides behind. Okay, so this is context diagram, like the first data flow diagram of your system. This is first diagram of complete patient information system. Like you were asked to develop your system is patient information system. So the first step you do is to make a context diagram. So what you do is you write the complete patient information system, label it with the number 0, and then you identify the entities, external entities who can communicate with your system, who can interact with your systems. So you came to know that either patient can use your system, or doctor can use your system, or insurance company can use your system. But there are some other people as well who can use your system. So you identify all the people who can use your system, who will be using, and you identify all the data which they will be passing to your systems or getting from your system. So you are looking your system like a black box. So you are not going into the details of the system, how things are going on inside the system. You are just viewing system as a black box, and you see that what how in which ways or what kind of data the external entities are passing to your system or getting from your system. So this is a context diagram. So what you have to do right now is you have to do an activity. Suppose, so your question is, the first question is, first you will make a context diagram and then you will move onwards. The question is, suppose you are given the details of a small mail order catalog system that allows people to shop from home. When a customer receives the catalog and wants to buy something, they can telephone, fax, or email their order to the company. The company gets the order and sends the goods and an invoice. When the customer receives the goods with delivery note, they send payment and receive a receipt for their payment. The first thing we must do is model the main outputs and sources of data in the scenario above. And then we'll draw the system box and then name the system. Next we'll identify the information that is flowing to the system and from the system. So first of all, you understand the scenario above, and then you have to make a level 0 or context diagram, or a level 0 diagram or context diagram of this system. So you got it? So any question about this question? Okay. Okay. Now, yes, I want you to draw it. I'll ask you that how you have made it, and then I'll ask you to show it to me. So I think there is some option for application sharing. So if you say that I have made it and I want to share it, so I'll allow your application sharing permission, and you can share it with us. Or what I can do is I can ask you that what is the system you have identified, what are the external entities you have identified, and then we can discuss the inputs and outputs about it. So you are supposed to draw it, make it, and make it on a piece of paper, or make it in some MS Word or something. So you can, if you'll make it in MS Word format, it will be easier for me to allow you to share your desktop, and it will be easier for me to know that what you have drawn. So how much time you want to do this activity? It's going to be 5:30. So would you be able to do it in 10 minutes? Okay, then do it. I'm giving you 15 minutes for this activity. Like it's 5:30. I'm giving you 15 minutes for this activity. I'll come back and see that, get back to you and see how you draw it. Okay, I'll be back at 5:45. Okay, another thing. I'm on my system. I'm sitting over here. If you find any question, you can text me, and I'll answer you here. Hello, can you listen to me? Okay, thank you. So, because Hanan just said that no voice and it seems like screen frozen. So I thought to tell her that the screen is not frozen, it's working, and we are just trying to solve this exercise question. If you are joined late, so please read this question and make a level 0 data flow diagram for this scenario. And remember, you will be getting such type of questions in exams as well. So practice as much as possible. Okay, you have 5 more minutes to do it. Okay, students, I'm back earlier than 5 minutes because after finishing this session up, then we will take a prayer break and then we'll go for database session. Okay, so you were asked to that you are given the details of a small mail order catalog system that allows people to shop from home. So whenever a customer receives the catalog, so it means the first thing is your customer should receive the catalog. So the options they have are provided with to by telephone, fax, or email their order to the company. So this is the data which is flowing from customer to your system. Then the company gets the order. The company is receiving the order from your system and then sends the goods and invoice. When the customer receives the good with a delivery note, they send payment and receive a receipt for their payment. This is how things are going on. The first thing we must do is to model the main outputs and sources of data in the scenario above. Then we draw the system box. So the solution for this context level diagram is this. This is your mail order systems, which is being modeled through a box, or you can write it as a 0, label it as a 0 process, and you can write your customers in this way. Like your customer is giving order, is giving payment. Your system is providing receipts, catalog, goods, invoice, and delivery notes to the customer. So this is the context diagram for your system. Okay, is it understandable? So if you draw it in your own notation, then your system, your customer will be an external entity, and your system will be a process 0 with a complete system with which your customer will be interacting. No, because when you say the mail order systems in which customers can order online, so the company is external and the customer is external. The customer is sending orders and customer is getting the payment. Okay, now I want to share something else instead of sharing my yes, I give you some examples. Okay, this is the example which we were working on. Your customer sends an order. The system sends an invoice to data flow, a delivery note data flow, and goods. Payment comes in. The payment is input to your systems. Catalog goes out to the customer. So that's why catalog arrow is going out from your system to the customer. So I want you to read more details about this example through this link, which I am going to post in your text panel as well. So this is a very good example, and all the activity of drawing a DFD is explained over here. So I want you to go through this link and read this example, that how a data flow diagram is constructed step by step for mail order system. Okay, everything clear? So if you have any question, you can ask me now. Otherwise, I'll leave from this session, and after a break we'll have a database session. So any questions? Okay, students. Okay, students, thank you very much. So let's have a prayer break, and after a few minutes I'll be back in our let's meet again in a database class. Thank you very much.